Hello everyone, welcome to Adversary of my Adversary. I am me is me and I, and this is Dyra. We are an occult couple. For those that are coming in on this, for the first time, I don't know if you guys can see us. Can you guys see us? You guys in the can you guys see us? You guys in the right one? I mean, it looks like we're good. I think. I'm not sure. So just let us know, because OBS is being weird. OBS started 2 different streams and shit like that. Anyway, what I wanted us to talk about tonight, what we talked about, kind of like going over. The title of this kind of says it all, right? Like, it's a bunch of shit that pisses us off in the occult life and just everything in general. So I think that this kind of like this, what do you want to call it? This tirade has kind of been brought about by like a conversation that I had earlier in the week, which I actually made a video about. But then I thought about it, and there's a lot more to it that pisses us off. There's a lot more. I've kind of given my perspective with the whole situation that went down with the video that I made the same day and uploaded. But I was curious, like, I think a good place to start would be kind of like your input on it. Like, say, do you disagree? You know, how did that situation make you feel, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, what I had said in my video is that, you know, that individual had made you uncomfortable, hence the reason why you blocked them, right? So...
yeah, I mean, I feel weird if anyone kind of comes into my messages or emails or comments or anything like that in any kind of like overly it would be inaccurate to word it by saying that it pisses me off, because it's been like a running theme, and you know, this isn't me being like, oh, you know, you can't pay me a compliment. You know, it's not that. It's about, bro.
What?
Okay.
Wow. See if they pick up on it with that one.
You're in timeout, my friend.
Right.
So, anyway, what was I getting at?
It was tiring. Like,
Yeah.
tiring.
It's fucking tiring, because I don't know. There's so many levels to it. At the end of the day, I think it's even more so annoying now that when, you know, I kind of thing. You know, it's just like, not only is that disrespectful to my partner, but also to me. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And time for me to start spamming that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't really know what to do with my.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the thing is for me, is this kind of obsessive idea, guys. Is it buffering for you, or is it clean? Any of you, anybody in the chat, like, how is the signal? Are we buffering? Are we good? Like, what's going on?
I am boiling.
Are you?
Always boiling. Yeah, it's buffering.
Yeah, it's buffering. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internet over here. Like, it's telling me that it's an excellent connection in YouTube, and then like looking at OBS, yeah, OBS looks like absolute shit. Like, I don't know what's going on. I might have to just uninstall OBS and reinstall it, and figure out what the hell's going on with the internet, because it is just like all over the place. It is ridiculous. And also it doesn't help that it creates two different streams starting out.
Yeah.
Right? Like right off the bat. Like there's two different live streams that go up. But so yeah, I mean, I just, I don't know, like this is gonna be a thing is like this shit doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
It's just like, and this is the thing, right? Like, as like men that are online creators, we don't get harassed like this. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, at least for me, it doesn't happen. I don't know about anybody else, but
Don't know why, you're so beautiful.
It's it's one of those things, right? It's sort of like I get pissed off about within it as well. So I'll mate.
wow, somebody else punish me with Lady Lilith. No, that's not even a timeout. You're just disappeared.
So I used to just ignore or block. Now I show them to you. Hence why you made your video about it. But I see other people like
Well, you showed it to me, and then he started messaging me.
yeah. That was fucking crazy. What the hell? That guy was harassing Sarah the Divination with the same messages. Oh, did you know what though, Curse? It's such a thing. Like the amount of people that have asked me, like personally, messaged me saying like, I want to be Lilith's like sex slave or something. Can you make it happen? And it is like I literally made a video on it like over a year ago now about the hypersexualization of females in the occult, and that includes female deities as well. How like we are so porn sick. So yeah, I should do a part 2 on that, I think, 'cause I've been thinking about that more recently. But yeah, like I've seen other like creators get harassed by people with, you know, like sexually charged messages or suggestive things. And like, so for example, Anima Nora, she for about a week she just went fucking ham, like posting videos every day, basically just like hitting back at them. And I'm no disrespect, Anima, if you do happen to watch this for whatever reason, but like yeah, I don't know, I just feel like it would be a waste of energy for me to take that same approach. Like, you know, handle it how you want, but it's kind of just like you do have to have a level of not tolerance, but just the capacity to not let it get to you. Because it's not going to stop. There's nothing you can actually do about it. Like, people are fucking weird, and that is just how it is. Like, people, look at this fucking guy in the chat, you know? Like, if it was like a one-on-one situation, would he be coming up to us in the street screaming, "Punish me with Lady Lilith"? No, he fucking well wouldn't. He's a pussyhole.
There you go. There you go. No, I mean, and it does. I mean, I think, like, also kind of like another thing, another aspect of this that we've talked about before, and I'm going to talk about it again because it seems to be a recurring fucking theme that keeps coming up for some unbeknownst reason. Polyamory.
Oh, yeah.
Allow me to preface this by saying, you do what you do, and that's your thing. Do what you do. I don't care. Like, I'm not telling you you're wrong for living your life a certain way. I'm just saying that for me, that's not a thing. Like, it's I'm not into it. I don't agree with it. No, just no. And the fact that people talk about it, like, even like not trying to get you involved in it, but the way that they talk about it so openly, like it's the details that they give you about their sex life, it's just like, I didn't need to know that.
Right. So it's like you'll be speaking one-on-one with someone and they will openly tell you very explicit details about their sex life and their sex life involving other people. And it's kind of like, okay, like I literally do not care what you do like that because it doesn't affect me, but it does affect me when you tell me about it, because now I need to look at your partner, and every time I look at your partner, I am picturing what you've just told me, right? Not because I have a dirty mind, but it's just because of what you've told me. And like when you have a brain that is very prone to it, because I don't want people knowing my business, I don't want to know other people's business as well, you know? Like, that's just it. Like, our Instagram algorithms are hilarious because they are the complete opposite of what we want to be seeing.
Oh, what's actually in the feed.
Yeah. So it's so funny because he just gets tits, basically. And I think I made it worse the other day because like I like tapped on one, so he basically viewed it. And now he's just getting like threefold tits coming on his feed, and I get loads of stuff.
Well, it's not the feed. So my feed is just like what like the people
you follow,
that I, the people
but like
that I follow.
the reels section of like for you basically.
Yeah, but the reels like at least like the highlighted reels, like when you go through a few posts and there's highlighted reels, you start going through my reels. Like if you start watching reels. Like it's none of that stuff comes up. It's just that it's like that push, like that algorithm is pushing to advertise those specific things, you know. Curse likes your mug.
Yeah, it's a cool mug, right? Michael Ford.
Yeah.
Luciferian apothecar. Got a big chip in it though. But, you know, well loved.
We all kind of do. We all have a big chip in us.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, no, like, I don't want to know what you. I don't want to know what you get up to behind like fucking polyamory content, and why like basically polyamory is apparently this like most life-changing, amazing thing, and you know that you need to accept polyamory people and polyamorous people and things like that. And I'm just like, you are not oppressed for deciding that you want to fuck more than one person. Like that's a lifestyle choice. You're not oppressed for that. You're not oppressed for the lifestyle choices you make. If you are oppressed by someone or like something, that is based on something that you can't change about yourself. Whether that's your sexuality or whether that's your like
the color of your skin.
Yeah, like
the color of your skin.
Yeah, your ethnicity or something like that. Yeah. Or your...
I think to a certain degree, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it depends. Like that's a little bit more nuanced. But, you know, basically things that you're, like, fucking born with, right? Or, like, a disability, you know?
Exactly.
That's probably the most, like, obvious one that, like, can't be helped. So, yeah, like... You're not oppressed because you're polyamorous, and I think like some of the feedback we got was like, do you agree that, you know, polyamorous people should be protected from, you know, like disrespect or oppression or things like that? And I thought, why would I give a shit? Like, you know, just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean that like I'm oppressing them. I'm not saying you don't have the right to do what you want. That's not it. It's just like, I don't want it shoved in my face. And the thing is when someone does share their practices with you so, like, you know, as if it's like the most normal thing in the world for everyone, it is rubbing it in your face, you know? And there's this, like, somehow this expectation, and I like what Maeve said here, like, it doesn't mean we're polyamorous. They're mutually exclusive things. And it's TMI for injecting it into the convo unless it was the topic. It was like you're an occultist. Every single, like, fucking part of your life and how you live your life has to be this, like, edgy, extreme thing. And it's like, no, it's not that. Because, like, the thing is, right, from my perspective, I can't see how polyamory would benefit me in my life, and therefore it's a struggle for me to empathize with anyone who says it is, right? But I am not them at the end of the day. I only have my perspective on the world. So because of that, I'm not sitting here saying I'm right. It's my opinion. And I can't remember where I was fucking going with that now, but I had a point at the end of this. But yeah, it's difficult for me to see the fucking benefit in it. So therefore, that's where I was going with it. Therefore, if I was to practice that, it would be harmful to me. It would be against what I believe is right or wrong for me. So as a left-hand path magician, it's the most anti-path thing that I can do as a magician, to do things that are harmful to me, to myself. So, you know, that's how you've got to look at it at the end of the day. Like, being left-hand path, being an occultist or whatever, even if you're just like a pagan witch and there's that thing of like, oh, they all get naked under the full moon kind of thing, you know, it's individualism, and it's about what is good and suited to the person. Like, if it suits you to be polyamorous, then cool. Like, you know, I don't fucking understand it, but I don't need to understand it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is like, going back to one of the points I made in my videos, like, when you do that, when you get into a conversation with somebody and you start being so openly explicit about what you do or what your partner does or anything like that, what you end up falling into is like, you're making the person you're talking to potentially uncomfortable and feel unsafe, because they're carrying a conversation on with you and don't follow that lifestyle, don't agree with that lifestyle, and now you're forcing them into it. Like, you're forcing them into that side of your life where they don't want to be. And I mean, this is where I kind of came off, and the thing is, like, we need to be better people. Like, we need to do better. Because just because we're into something doesn't mean that other people are, and by forcing that hand onto people, we're making them uncomfortable, we're making them feel unsafe, and we're disrespecting them, right? We're openly disrespecting people that we respect, just because you're open with it, just because you think it's okay to be that open. You know, most people don't. Like one of the points I made in my video, and I'll make this point again. If you're polyamorous, you are a minority. Like, there's no two ways about it. You are a minority in the idea that you like being polyamorous. Therefore, to go into a conversation with the assumption, the very incorrect assumption to be making, and to openly talk about your relationship, you know, in the way that these people do, you know, a lot of the time, is disrespectful to the person you're talking to. Now, I know it's not intentional disrespect, but it's still disrespectful. You know, I'm gonna be honest, right? So there was a gentleman that I met at Glastonbury Cult Conference. Wonderful individual. I'm not going to mention names, but he was a really good guy. And in a passing conversation, with both Dyer and I present, he had mentioned his original marriage to his wife, and regarding why his father-in-law wasn't invited, yada, 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 and got into some very explicit details as to why he wasn't, that we didn't need to hear. We didn't need to hear it. It wasn't necessary.
Yeah, and it's not about being judgmental at the end of the day. It's not about that. It's not being like, you know, oh, I now like think of you differently and I'm like questioning your whole sort of like character kind of thing. It's kind of like, it's a bit like, I don't know, if someone, you know, walks up to you and you say, oh, hi, you all right? And they go, no, I've got the shits, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's a little bit like that, you know.
Yeah, it is.
And you feel in that moment, you just feel a little bit like your brain's been violated because you know you've got an image of them like with like fucking liquid poo coming out of their arse. So like that's like the best equivalent that I can think of, like when it comes to mine sort of thing. And it's just like, no, it's not about being judgmental or a prude or anything like that. It's just like your own personal boundary. When it comes to like conversation, and you know, just things you don't need to know. And it's like, you know, I've been there like with anything, you know, like for example, my mum's a nurse, and you know, when I was younger and still living with my mum, you know, we'd be eating dinner and she'd tell me some really graphic details about someone's fucking manky wound with like maggots in it and stuff while I'm eating. But the thing is, it's nothing to her because she sees it every day. She's desensitized to it. But now I don't want to eat my fucking food. So, you know, it's just about remembering that what's normal for you and what's okay for you isn't necessarily fine with everyone else, kind of thing. To, you know, like hear about it. It's just sort of like, you know, I'm not there with you. And
in the video, like this applies not just to like the polyamory thing, but I mean it applies to like, you know, another big thing where people get very judgmental when you're not that thing. You're not going to have a good time.
Talk to a Democrat and say you didn't vote for Harris.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing. Like it's on the same level. Like it's the idea of like both of us.
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
No, it's fine. Well, actually, that goes into my next point though, right?
I wondered what you wanted to do about the shits. Welcome to Adversary.
Right. You know, it's another thing. It's like, you know, there's a lot of times that we would like to sit there and talk about, you know, our kind of more individual. For example, this show. There is a very big point behind starting this show that we still haven't gotten into. And we haven't gotten into it because, to be completely honest, we're afraid of what people's reactions would be.
Do you know what? On that note, in the past week, because I was in the car with somebody, where politics was brought up, and I felt like I went inwards on myself and couldn't be genuinely honest about how I felt and what I thought because it wouldn't be received well. You were very good in the conversation that you were present at, and but obviously you weren't for the other one. And I just sort of sat there and you know, in the car, didn't fancy having something, you know, that could potentially have gotten heated while I'm going 70 miles an hour.
Right.
You know, I needed to concentrate. So, yeah, but, you know, it's that whole thing of just, like, what are people going to think? Because, you know, you've got a lot of people at the moment saying, like, you know, if you think like this, if you believe this, then, you know, fuck off, I want nothing to do with you. And it's just like, you do understand that my thoughts and opinions on things have absolutely no power to harm you? Like, you know, if I don't think that a certain individual is a bad person, like a politician, who we don't know personally, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is like, there's just like a lot of, you know, it's a really big part of the show that we want to kind of start getting into, but we're kind of feeling out, you know, I guess kind of like reading the room, so to speak, right? Because we've already mentioned in a non-political way that we're very conservative. We aren't like, we don't believe in polyamory. We don't believe that it's a good thing for people to be polyamorous. That's our opinion. Now, whether or not you are, that's your own shit. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't be something, but I'm also not going to, like, this idea that people take someone's personal beliefs or ideas and then apply it to them like a personal attack, in my personal opinion, is a sign of internal weakness. If something I say that I believe in or don't believe in affects you so much that you feel like I'm with, not mine. Like that has nothing to do with me, right? Because I'm not attacking you. And if you feel like if someone expressing an opinion, like that's my opinion on fucking furries. They scare the shit out of me. I doubt we would agree politically, but I don't think any less of you. I think you're both great. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, that's really cool, Sarah. And the thing is, right, like, you know, if I, in this country, in the UK, if I sort of like, you know, well, if someone asked me where I align politically, and I said, you know, I'm conservative, you know, they'd be like, oh, you're a fucking Tory, and it's like, it doesn't mean I like the Conservative Party. It doesn't mean I think they're good or I'd vote for them or anything. Like, you know, the fact that Labour won the election over here, I wasn't mad about it. You know, I voted Lib Dems, just because that was it was a tactical vote. Because yeah, you know, I didn't want another 4 years of Conservative. I thought, you know, they've been around long enough, and you know, nothing's got any better. So you know, let's see what happens if someone else gets in, and you know, if it goes to shit, which it probably would, it just spices things up, really, doesn't it? So yeah, that was my take on it. So you know, I'm not a Tory. I'd say that, like, when it comes to politics, describing myself more as, even though I'm British, I would say I align more with, because it's something I wish my country had. I wish we had a fucking constitution, you know, but we don't. We are under so much control and we don't realise it. You know, even from like the smallest little things.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, I think if I were to describe myself politically as anything, I would describe myself as a constitutionalist. I wouldn't even really describe myself as a political conservative or a political liberal, or even, like, at this point, a classic libertarian. I just believe in the Constitution. I believe that what the Constitution was written for has purpose, has merit, and it needs to stand on its own.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with what you have to say, but I'll defend the deaf. You're right to say absolutely. Like, when it was about people talking about Gaza and Hamas, and saying like what the consequences would be if he felt that there was like some kind of like terrorism sympathizers like going on, right, and that they would be silenced in some way.
They would be removed from the country.
Removed from the country, and you know, even though like that's the, you know, the situation with Hamas and Gaza is kind of more of a like left topic. Mm-hmm. We're still sitting there going, that's a violation of a constitutional right. You know, just because you don't agree with the left doesn't mean that you don't think that they shouldn't have a voice.
Yeah, and I mean,
and say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I remember Dyra asking me about that because she was reading it, and she goes, "Well, what do you think about this?" And I said, "I think it's wrong. I think that, you know, if somebody wants to express their support for something, regardless of how much you disagree with it, it's not your place to tell them that they can't express that."
Yeah, like when we were in Glastonbury, they were doing this Gaza visual, and it was like 3 people just dancing with Palestine flags, and we all passed and I went, oh, fucking idiots, because I'm looking at them thinking, what are you actually fucking doing, you know? Like, you know, there's some of like the Gaza marches, protests, vigil, fucking lunatics, and you know, it's just like, you're not doing anything, you know. You're supposed to be activists, but you're a pathetic excuse for an activist, being like, I think you're a twat, you know.
I mean, well, and that's the thing, like, people are upset by opinions, and you know, it's like one of the points of this show, right, you know, is to be able to kind of like open up and kind of express those things, right, and provide a safe haven for people that. And it's weird to sit there and say that you have to provide a safe haven for people that have conservative values, you know, but that's what it is, right? You know, virtue signaling is strong with savior complexes. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know, guys. Like, I mean, I don't want to make it about politics, but I mean, it's definitely a part of what this show is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about, you know,
it was a motivation for starting it, for sure. And basically being like, not all occultists are the same.
Yep.
We're not all left-leaning, and not all of us are kind of, basically. It's interesting, though, because I have a friend that I hadn't spoken to for, you know, a good well over a year, also an occultist. And she messaged me fairly recently, and she said, and I responded going, yeah, I am. And she was like, oh, thank God. Like, she was like, I'm so glad I can actually talk to someone about it. It's like how nervous we both were to sort of like come out to each other about it. And then we just had this like incredible conversation about, ranting about everything that's like repressed within us that, you know, we've got to pick.
and it goes to show, I mean, it's like, the thing is like, I mean, like it's kind of good to see that, because it means we're not the only ones. Right. And I feel like anyone out there that's an occultist and is a little bit more right leaning probably has that feeling inside of them that like they're the only one. And honestly, trying to alienate people from the occult because of their fucking politics is only hurting the occult.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, is like when we say right-leaning, people are really going, oh, so you're like Order of Nine Angles, thinking like that, you know, it's either like one end or the other, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it's one extreme or the other.
You know, if you're a liberal, it doesn't mean you're a fucking communist.
Exactly. You know, so it's just like, yeah, so this is just a bunch of stuff that's been kind of like pissing us off, right? Like, and that is definitely a point that I've wanted to talk about, because it was like Dyra said, it's one of the motivations for starting this life, right? That if you're an occultist and you don't want to be polyamorous, that's okay. If you're an occultist and you want to vote Republican, it's okay. You know, it's okay.
For political activists, it's like, no, I've got fucking better things to do. No? Like, pack it in. Pack it in. But yeah, also what I find funny as well is like the conversation in which you were present for. I find it, no offense to any Brits watching, but I find it very amusing, despite being a Brit myself, that when a British person is so opinionated on American politics, but they don't understand how the country actually fucking works, and that some laws are state by state, and not because it's just like, yeah, we don't have that over here, but you need to understand how fucking massive America is, and the fact that like things are a lot of things that you are mad about are state issues, and a state compromise is the best it's ever gonna get. Because that is just how it works. Yeah, what I mean
is there's an understanding. We see what happens when the government gets their fingers into too much shit. You don't want the government too far involved in your life. You really don't. Because the government isn't looking out for your best interests. It never has. I mean, think about it. Like, the government gets its fingers into everything. The federal government, like we're talking American politics here. If the federal government gets its fingers into enough shit, their fingers in enough shit, and then the government flips, that same government's going to have the same power, but to pull everything the opposite direction completely against you. So it's not a good thing to have more federal government involvement in things that can be dictated by the fucking state that you live in. And if you don't like the way your state's going about it, move.
Country. Like, If you don't like guns, go somewhere with stricter gun laws.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't like abortion, go somewhere where you're not allowed to have an abortion.
Yeah.
If you want an abortion, go somewhere where you're allowed one.
Let's see. I think it's about having healthy conversations. Sometimes it's better to just deal with the discomfort of reoccurring themes with a dedicated video. Maybe a guest from the other perspective. I'm kind of Gray. I'm kind of trying to figure out where you're coming from with this one. I mean, he's saying that like I mean, I do think that we are kind of like beating a dead horse to a certain degree, especially with the polyamory thing. I think it's the third time we fucking talked about it.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, we've talked about it. Like, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like, it's not like we just want to keep bringing up the same subject. It keeps coming at us, right? So I don't want to talk about it 3 fucking times. I made it. We did one live about it. I did a video about it, and now we're talking about it again. I don't want to do it 3 fucking times, you know. But it keeps coming back up, you know. And then like there's the other aspect of it where it kind of irritates me. Dyra gets incessantly harassed.
No, that was fucking amusing, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
you were like, you're brave.
Yeah, I was like that bold.
Yeah. It's like, why the fuck would I want to get a coffee with you?
Right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like nobody would do that, like with me, right? Nobody's gonna go onto one of my videos or one of my shorts or one of my whatever and be like, hey man, you know what, we should get a coffee sometime. No.
Yeah.
You know, it's not gonna happen.
And if they did, you'd assume they're gay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's like, if you're not gonna do it across the board, if it's not something that you would do across the board, don't fucking do it. Don't fucking do it. And the thing is like, I mean, Dyra and I are very public. Like we don't hide our relationship at all. So it really wouldn't take that long to figure out you're barking up the wrong tree.
Sarah just made an interesting comment. With the polyamory thing, do you not think it's a lot of people think the likes of Crowley? Amazing.
Hey, he's talking to both of us. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, no, I do as well.
Yeah, LeVay as well.
And yeah, like sure, but I think what we're getting at here is sort of like, Crowley did a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them good either.
Yeah. Crowley did a lot of things. And a lot of questionable things. And yeah, do I think that Crowley was an incredible magician? Of course. Yeah, sorry guys, our connection's fucking shit tonight.
Yeah, he's an incredible something.
It's that thing, right, of like you can take things out of, like, say, the Satanic Bible, for example, because I know that you like but do you align with it entirely with your whole being?
No.
To the point where it's like, I have to do everything it says in this book, kind of thing? Like, yeah, I do think that the figures such as Crowley are definitely a massive influence to people and like occultists when it comes to polyamory. Everyone's ever done. Like, where's the individualism in our paths?
Yeah, I think so. One thing I've said a million times over when it comes to the Satanic Bible, I've said a million times that I align my life philosophy very closely to the Satanic Bible. Philosophy is a jigsaw puzzle that you put together, and you make the pieces fit how you want them to fit. Like that's the beauty of philosophy and life philosophy, right? I believe that the Satanic Bible has a lot of things that are more relevant in modern day society as a philosophical guideline than the Bible does. Do I agree with every aspect of it and say, I'm going to follow this thing to the letter? and like go balls to the wall with it? Fuck no. You know, there's plenty of shit in the Satanic Bible that I completely disagree with and omit completely, right? You know, but the thing is if you read the Satanic Bible correctly, like even when LaVey talks about sexuality, LaVey doesn't lay down saying that being polyamorous or being, you know, sexually explicit or provocative or promiscuous is the only way to do things. The way he lays it out very neutrally in the sense that whatever provides you gratification is what you should be focusing on. So if a monogamous one-on-one relationship is what provides that gratification to you, then that's what you should focus on.
I also think that the Satanic Bible is massively misinterpreted when it comes to that stuff as well, in the sense of like indulgence over abstinence and things like that, and people use that as an excuse to be like, yeah, I'm gonna just fuel all of my, like, every single carnal urge that I have, and if I fueled every single like carnal urge that I had, I'd be dead, because I would probably not have a home. And you know,
that is a misinterpretation, though,
Yeah.
right? Because the thing is we're talking, like, when we're talking about like gratification, right? We're also talking gratification to your benefit, right? So what is more gratifying, like? You know, it's kind of like, you know, when I drink, right? Like I look at, like, when I'm drinking and I'm like, you know, do I enjoy drinking? Of course I enjoy drinking. I definitely enjoy drinking. But there comes a certain point when I stop enjoying drinking because everything starts fucking spinning, right? So it's understanding your own moderation, understanding your own limits, keeping yourself safe. If you know that, like, you're not capable of using drugs recreationally and never going back to that thing, then and you're going to use it until, you know, it makes your heart stop, then no, you probably shouldn't be doing it, because the biggest thing is your own safety. Like, in the left-hand path, in general, the biggest thing that you're looking at is your own safety. You know, and I do think that a lot of people misinterpret it and use it as an excuse for irresponsible behavior.
yeah, and like the comment that was made to you, like, oh, occultists are meant to be wild, like black magicians are meant to be wild, and it's just like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
I've done my wild shit, man. I want
Same.
some peace.
Yeah.
I got my wild shit done early.
Yeah, you know, and like same here. Like, so, you know, it's like,
I was using Class A's at 16. I'm done, mate. I'm a fucking 60-year-old donkey on the inside.
so yeah, you know, it's just one of those things that you can interpret things however you want to. You can use them to your benefit or whatever, but, you know, I think the problem is because of the misinterpretations and the excuses that people make for bad behavior is still bad behavior.
Here's some dark taboo topics we occultists are afraid to talk about. Abstinence, sobriety, discipline, self-control. Not us.
Not us. Yeah, not us. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Gray. You're not wrong. You know, discipline is a big one. Discipline is a big one that I've personally run into people that say that they don't like the word because it makes them think of, like, you know, getting hit or something. And it's like, that's not what discipline means. Discipline means self-control, you know, or an aspect of self-control, you know, focus, right? Sobriety, knowing when to stop. Like, I had an option tonight, right? Like, you know what? No, I want a hot chocolate too. It's choices. It's choices. I made myself a hot chocolate, you know, instead of grabbing a Guinness. And it's a choice that I'm glad I did, because that was actually a really good cup of hot chocolate.
It was.
You know, Maeve, also, I got your message, Maeve. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Anyway, guys, on that note, I think that is going to cover everything that we want to talk about tonight. We normally do the announcement thing at the beginning, but I guess we're going to do it at the end. So how about you kick us off
Sure thing.
on announcements?
Announcing announcements. I will announce some announcements. So, You know what? I just feel like after Glastonbury, I'm a bit sort of like, what do I even have going on? Yeah, actually, I we recorded my workshop that we did at Glastonbury, so that is now going to be on the members section of my website if you want to go and catch that. It was my first in-person live workshop, and I absolutely loved it.
She did amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely fucking loved it. So yeah, you can catch that now on the members subscription. Don't subscribe to it on my YouTube, please. I have moved the subscriptions over to my website, and that's where all the content's going to be from now on. Initiation info now begins on the 15th of March, and the discounted early reg price ends at the end of February, so February 28th. So if you want to find out more about that, you can book in a free discovery call with me to take advantage of that early reg discount. And I think that's about it for now. Yeah, you know, merch. Oh, mystery boxes. Got lots of goodies in those. They come in 3 sizes, and they include all sorts of goodies like skulls, bones, spirit boards, crystals, candles, statues. Lots of fun bits. There's a limited number of those available though, so you know, once they're gone, they're gone. So go check those out.
Yeah, definitely. For me, so I'm going to be moving the Baphomet course that I'm going to be starting to YouTube. So there's another tier. The first video for that is going to be coming in soon. If you're interested in the Baphomet course, that's there. I'm also doing readings, so if you guys want, you know, some readings, shadow specific, then hit me up and we'll get those going. Anyway, that is going to be it. That's going to cover everything. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dealing with the horrible fucking internet that we have, which we'll know. You guys are fucking amazing as always. Hail thy fucking self. See you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.